Welcome back to the Huddle on High Street, and this is coming to you moments before the national championship game. Obviously, rooting for those Huskies. Don't want Michigan to win the national championship. A lot of the money on Michigan. A lot of people think, pretty much everybody that I've talked to thinks that they're going to win. But I did put a wager on the Huskies, so we'll see. Do I believe it'll happen? I don't know. I think that, if their offense comes out swinging and they catch the Michigan defense off guard, there's a chance, but, won't get much into that. I did want to talk, though, about the big news out of Ohio State. They might possibly land Judkins, and I mean, this would be big if they were able to get Judkins. Visited today. It just seems highly likely. There's nothing official that's been broken yet, but it just seems like more than likely that he definitely is going to be the guy that comes in, and that would be huge, especially because it looks like Travion Henderson. It's like 90% that he's coming back. If you have Judkins and Henderson, that 1-2 punch, that'd be one of the best running back tandems that I've seen in a long, long time. So, I think that definitely to underrate this would be crazy because this is a heck of a running back. I watched his tape this morning. Guy can play. One of the best running backs in the country would be coming to Ohio State, along with Travion Henderson, who's one of the best backs in the country in my eyes as well. So that would just be a huge get for the Buckeyes if they were able to get him. He followed pretty much everybody on the team on Instagram and on other social medias this past week. So it looks to me like it's going to be Judkins at OSU. Obviously, it's still on watch at this point, but it looks to me at this point that's what's going to happen. I did want to get into a little bit more Will Howard talk. Obviously, since the last time this came out, Will Howard hadn't been a Buckeye yet. I think it's big. I think that, from what I've seen, from the fan base, what I've seen throughout the past couple of days, I think it's somewhat mixed. I think it's more leaning towards the side of this is a big get. And, I think it is a big get. I think it's I said the last Huddle on High Street, I said that I wasn't too sure of Will Howard, but, after really carefully watching his tape, it's a good fit. Kansas State, if you're able to play as well as he did at Kansas State, he should have no problem in this system. He's much better than Kyle McCord. You can't compare the numbers. Kyle McCord had perhaps the best college football wide receiver in history. So you can't compare the numbers at all. He's a good quarterback, 6'5" build. Like I said, he's got a outside shot for the Heisman. You bring in Judkins now too. It could get dangerous. It could get really dangerous. I saw Jeremiah Smith looks like he's a guy that's going to play right off the bat. In the All-American game, he scored a touchdown, just kind of burnt the other guy. He played really well in that game. Other big news from that All-American game, obviously they got the cornerback commit, top 5 player in the country for next year, Devin Sanchez. He committed to Ohio State. And, I think that's big. That's big. That put Ohio State in the top, I think, 7 class for next year. And I think that the one thing, though, is you can't – with recruits these days, it's so much different now that, that commitment is a great commitment, but it really doesn't mean anything until he signs the dotted line. It really doesn't mean anything at all till that dotted line is signed and he either makes the commitment through signing, because the commitment, it's just not what it was. Because there's going to be schools throwing money at the guy. So we'll see what happens a year from now. But, if he's able to stay and he's able to become a Buckeye, that's a huge get. That's an absolutely huge get for Ohio State if that's the case at that point. And if that's the case and you're able to get a guy like that, that would be huge for the defense overall. it would be big. But obviously, you got to wait till they sign the dotted line. You really don't know till then yet. I've seen some of his tape too. I might put a highlight tape together at some point at another point on this channel of looking at his tape. His cornerback tape's really interesting because you're looking at um, just 1v1 matchups. You're not really seeing the ball in their hand. Obviously, you see the interceptions, but it's really about that 1v1 defense going into it. But that was big news, and the other big news obviously was that they brought in the Alabama center Seth McLaughlin, and obviously didn't really leave Alabama on the best terms. He had the issue with the snaps; they were wobbly. I suggested they should probably move him to guard. It looks like that's not what they're going to do. Now, you have an entire offseason to tone this guy's snaps. He's a good center. He made it pretty clear that he cares about the rivalry between Michigan, which is what we need. So I think it's a good get for Ohio State. And if you really look at the layout right now, what they've done in such a short amount of time, Will Howard, McLaughlin, bringing back Jack Sawyer, most likely bringing back Travion Henderson, probably getting Judkins. They brought back Lathan Ransom. Denzel Burke might stay. You're looking at this here, and you're saying Jeremiah Smith coming in. The one guy, Edric Houston, reminds me of Chase Young. He was tearing it up in the All-American game, too. You have all these pieces kind of coming together, and it's really looking to me like this is a preseason top 3 team next year. And, is 2024 their year at this point? It'll be the 10-year anniversary of their national championship in 2014. And I think that if you look at it all the way around with this team coming in, it looks really good. And you also factor that Ryan Day's got all this pressure on him. Michigan's going to be down. It looks like Harbaugh's going to jump to the NFL after this game tonight. You just look at all this and you start to kind of say, it looks like it's all lining up with the players that they brought back, what you're retaining. It just, to me, it looks like it's all coming together. It looks like Ohio State has a path. I think what they did is I think they finally walked in there and they put pressure on them. They said, man, I don't think they had this conversation with Ryan Day last year. I think they had this conversation with them. They said, you have another bad year like that, we got to get rid of you. We got to can you. And I think, he really took that and he was like, I got to be better. I got to rethink my plans here. I think that the Michigan game was just such a sour loss to lose 3 in a row. And then that bowl game against Missouri was like awful. It was so terrible. And you're looking at all that. It was looking like there was not a lot of hope there. And you just flip it, and this week's been a heck of a lot better than last week, I'll tell you that. But with what they're doing, with what they've done, like Howard can play. Howard definitely, it's a huge improvement over Kyle McCord. It is. It's a huge improvement over Devin Brown or Lakin Keyholtz. What you have in that program is a huge, huge improvement. It's going to be his 5th year. He's got experience. The receivers are really good. Even if Ibuka doesn't stay, you have guys. I would actually, obviously I'd like Ibuka to stay, but even if he didn't, I would feel reassured. We have Jeremiah Smith. He's going to play more. That guy's a future stud. This is like stuff that we know. He's a future stud. Carnell Tate is really good. Will he make that jump? I think he will. He had that one really good game against Purdue, and didn't play great in the bowl game, but like I said in the previous huddle on HighStreet, you can't play good in the bowl game if you can't get the ball thrown to you. So I think things are turning around. They dumped their safeties coach today. I assume they're going to dump their O-line coach soon. They're making the right moves right now. But that is another problem that you have with Ohio State. It always seems like off the field, they're making the right moves. Obviously, they didn't last year with the quarterback situation, which was disaster, as anybody could have foreseen. But it seems like the majority of the time they're making the right moves. It's just about executing it on the field. And I think offseason, there hasn't been one wrong move. Like I said, you bring in the Judkins guy, it could get scary. It could get scary real quick. And then the only last thing that I did want to talk about is with bringing in the Judkins guy from Old Miss, um, and assuming Travion Henderson is going to stay. What does this mean for Dallin Hayden? Dallin Hayden is a guy, I really wanted to see him get a chance. I really wanted to see him be able to go out there and perform, go out there and play, because I think Dallin Hayden can really play the game. I think he's a really solid back who just kind of needs a chance. He's had 2 games where he just kind of went off for us and, helped us. The Maryland game, he had like over 300 yards, I think, or something crazy. And then the Purdue game, he played really well when he had to go in. And I really wanted to see a lot more of him. But you do have to ask yourself the question, is he going to get his opportunity ever at Ohio State now that we're bringing in Judkins? Now that Travion Henderson is staying, is he going to get his shot? And, you could look at it as well as, Travion Henderson really injury-prone back. So, Dallin Hayden could still get some looks. So it's going to be the best back. Bring in Quentin. It's going to be the best backfield in the country. It's not going to be very close. But, what will Dallin Hayden do? Because I think Dallin Hayden's a future NFL back. But he's not getting his chance because we're just so stacked at the position at Ohio State that, it's tough. It's tough in that regard. So we will see. I think that what they've done this week has been really, really productive. The only thing that I can say to close out this video, this is a bit of a short episode today, is go Huskies. Let's hope Washington beats Michigan. I really don't want to see them win the national championship. And we can't even if you have that thing that where you're saying we want the Big Ten to look good. Washington's in the Big Ten next year, so we can give it to Washington. We can give them their national championship. Just don't let it be Michigan. They will never let this go if they win. So hopefully we can get Washington to win this game. If Michigan wins, I've already came to terms. We just got to be better. We just got to take care of business next year. There's nothing you can do about it. We lost. So we'll just have to move on. Thank you for tuning into the Huddle on High Street. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.